Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Laymen Daily Show. Hello, everyone. It seems like we now have an announcement in terms of the day is the 24th of May next week that we're going to see the PlayStation Showcase. Okay, so I'm very excited for that to see what they're going to be showing us. I got some predictions today for me. I've done a little bit of shopping around in terms of news, what everyone else is expecting. What I'd like to see, there's also some news, reviews, and discussions. There's, of course, some trailer here and there. We're not going to do the AI game today, okay? Because we do the AI game a lot. So I thought we won't do that today. I can hear the disappointment already from everybody. But a lot of news, a lot of reviews, a trailer to show you today too. So let's get into it, guys. And then after the drop, I'll ask how the chat is. Let's do it. All right. Yabo says, yo. The second narrative music says, hi. What's going on, man? Good to see you, man. Appreciate everyone here. Elise says, pack it up, Xbox. Well, I'm expecting this showcase to be pretty good, first and foremost, right? It's going to be some interesting titles, hopefully, that we see. Let's get into it, right? I'm going to be showing this weird trailer that they brought out a few months ago in the background. Fuck it, right? Give you something to look at. But Eric says, Spider-Man 2 Game of the Year confirmed. Well, there's going to be some... It's either going to be Redfall, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, or it could be Spider-Man, right? It's funny because we really haven't seen much on Spider-Man at all. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. I'm definitely expecting to see a hell of a lot in terms of Spider-Man news. Something about Spider-Man 2. We want to see that. We know it's going to be very much including Venom. Or Carnage, which one was it now? Either one. But it's definitely going to be... an expansive experience. I'm very excited to see what they do there because the original Spider-Man that came out in 2018 was fantastic. Miles Morales that came out kind of I think it was it was one of the releasing titles for the console of PS5. That was awesome. Also played that and loved it. Definitely felt like it was just an iteration from that original one though, right? So I want to see what they do with Spider-Man, but that's definitely something I think we're going to be seeing in the future for next week. And I expect it to be quite a long showing for Spider-Man, right? I'd be very surprised if we don't see something significant in that. It's probably going to be 30 minutes to an hour or so that they're going to be doing the showcase. And in that time, I'm expecting at least 10 minutes to be dedicated to Spider-Man because as we've seen from previous leaks and all that kind of stuff, we're expecting it later this year. And they did say there's going to be a huge marketing push around August, around June, July, that kind of time frame. So, man, if we're not seeing anything in this showcase, it'll be very, very disappointing. Let me tell you. Very disappointing. You know what else I really want to see? Wolverine. Okay, now, so we saw this like a year or two ago. We literally just saw Wolverine like sitting in a bar and then like, you know, the claws came out. This is definitely something that I expect for us to see. Insomniac Games is working on this too. They've said that they're going to be hopefully very true to the DNA. They want it to be classified as M. There's rumors that it may be somewhat of an open world, but still linear progression through the actual world. So I don't know exactly what this is going to look like, but man, a Wolverine game would be sick. Okay, I'm just going to throw it out there. A Wolverine game would be awesome. Now, originally before they were going to do Spider-Man, they were originally going to do Iron Man, I believe. I think that was the first IP that they were playing with, and they chose Spider-Man, right? So for them to continuously ditch the whole Tony Stark thing and then go in another direction, I hope they land. But Wolverine definitely feels like it can't be so PG, right? So if it is going to be M, that's going to be I think that's the right direction, right? Like who wants a Wolverine that's like all fun and happy? It's like, hey, it's PG, everyone. Nah, fuck that. We don't want that shit, right? We want to see some angry Logan, some deeply disturbed Logan. I think that's the only way that they can go with this particular franchise. And Hugh Jackman, he's an Aussie. Love Hugh Jackman. I think he did a fantastic performance, and he also laid the groundwork for any other template that was going to be Wolverine. Look, not to say that you need to have that particular template moving forward, but I'm guessing there's going to be some DNA from that because it was so popular. It was so good, and a lot of people loved what Wolverine was. It kind of kick-started a lot of that superhero genre. Yes, you can say Iron Man did, and yes, you can say Spider-Man also did. But I think Wolverine and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine was definitely an integral part. So I'm expecting some DNA to be part of that. Absolutely. Tom says, "Sup Sam, what percentage are you thinking of the possibility of this PlayStation Showcase MGS3 reveal rumor being real?" That was another point that I had. You know what? Let's just jump to it now. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater remake. There has been some rumors out there that this is going to be shown, and my God, I think that would be incredible. The percentage, I would say it's probably 25%. And what's backing that 25%? Just me. It's on the internet, so it must be true. But I feel like, you know, there has been enough swirling rumors around this, right, that people are expecting something from Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. So if it's not this showcase, maybe we can expect it in the future. But man, that would be incredible. And like, it is kind of, for a lot of people, it is their kind of favorite Metal Gear, right? And that's the point where I kind of stepped up. I played Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear 2, Metal Gear 3. I think I played a little bit of Metal Gear, 4 and 5. I didn't really jump into it as much. I didn't play Metal Gear Survivor or whatever it was called. Really should have done that. Ghost of Tsushima 2, Ross. You think that we might see that? That's an interesting point. I don't know. I don't think so, man. I haven't seen any rumblings of that, right? Nothing on Twitter to suggest any sort of rumors that we would see a Ghost of Tsushima 2. Having said that, it is one of their stronger IPs now. Now, it's not like the biggest IP that Sony's ever brought out, but the groundwork there, man, like it's totally very strong groundwork for us to, you know, I think that would be a really good title to see in the next 2 to 3 years in terms of a Ghost of Tsushima 2. Absolutely. Such a hunk, good name, says 100% the first X-Men movies was huge. It was huge. Like, Spider-Man was massive, right? Sam Raimi's vision of Spider-Man, I thought was incredible. Tobey Maguire did a fantastic job. But I feel like X-Men really, it really propelled it further than what Spider-Man was kind of doing, right? And it is roughly that same time frame that they both came out. Kato says, no Ghost of Tsushima till next year. Well, maybe that's going to be the case then, right? Now, another thing that I'm expecting from the PlayStation Showcase is a lot of PSVR 2 titles. Now, of course, as we know, that came out a couple of months ago, so they're going to be pushing that hard. That's going to be one of their things. They want to make sure that people know it's real because the sales have not been great. There's definitely a lot of articles out there saying that the PSVR 2 bombed. But we can't forget that VR is relatively new tech in the way that it's still trying to find a major audience and it's still trying to find how it's going to like best serve not only gaming, but like other industries too, right? So I don't think the average consumer is going to be like, oh my God, PSVR 2, 800 bucks Aussie or whatever it is. Got to get that now. It comes with no games. It's a lot of an ask, you know. It's a big upfront cost for something that a lot of people aren't sold on. So I wasn't expecting the PSVR 2 to sell well. And, you know, maybe it will continue to sell in the future, right? But I'm expecting a lot of PSVR titles or something, a big emphasis on PSVR 2. Because, of course, they want that to be successful and they want that to be part of the conversation. And naturally, they want to make sure that people are talking about it and maybe looking at some games on the horizon that they can be excited for. I, for one, I'm not excited. To be honest, I don't have a PSVR. I had a Oculus Quest. No, I had the Oculus Stronger one, whatever that is. And that's what I played Half-Life Alyx on. Man, that was mad. Good times. Oculus, was it called the Oculus Rift S? I think that's what it's called. I'm not sure. But that was the first experience that I played a VR game. And I'm like, holy God, this is actually next level. I remember IGN covering it. And they said, one thing they said that really stuck out at me, was it felt like they were playing a game from the future. And it definitely felt like, if you guys have played Half-Life Alyx, you'll know what I mean. Like especially towards the end where like there's gravity things that they're doing, right? I don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't played it. But there's definitely moments where you just feel like, holy shit, this is next level gaming. This is next level immersive experience. And there's definitely a place for VR. I just don't know if we're there yet. And I think the sales are reflective of that. Big time. Big time. Also, Final Fantasy 16. Now, there was a 25-minute gameplay trailer we saw a couple of weeks ago, right? Are they going to be doubling down with another 25-minute gameplay? No. But we can expect some sort of third-party title stuff in there. And one of those, of course, is going to be Final Fantasy 16. Then they're going to be showing something, right? They're going to be showing something. So I definitely expect, in some regard, we can expect some Final Fantasy 16. And on top of Final Fantasy, in the Final Fantasy universe, I'm definitely expecting some Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, right? Which is the second part of the Final Fantasy 7 remake. Man, that is going to be selling all the it's going to be selling all the copies for anyone that's a hardcore Final Fantasy 7 fan. Absolutely. Funnily enough, I only got about 3/4 of the way through, and I put down Final Fantasy 7 Remake. I didn't fully finish it. Got to go back and do that. I mean, I finished Final Fantasy 7 literally probably 10 times over the last 20-something years. Like, it came out on, naturally, it came out on PlayStation 1. Finished that 3 times. And then it was on my phone, and I jailbreaked my iPhone, and I finished that a couple of times on there. And then it came out on Switch, and I finished it on Switch. Good times, you know? Definitely love me some Final Fantasy 7, but for some reason, I didn't fully finish Remake. Not to say that I didn't love it. I loved what they did. I thought they took massively bold moves, whatever, away from the original combat because it was dated and it did maybe need to be revamped. Otherwise, it could have just looked like very much of a remaster, right? So they definitely took a lot of creative license there. Some people didn't like how it ended. I know how it ends. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I know how that ends and how that is a different story to how the original one would have ended at that time and place. So definitely excited to see what if they do show some stuff there. Wilson says, "What are we watching? Can anyone catch me up?" We're just talking about our best anime, top 10 anime. That's what we're talking about right now. Yep. Tom says, Half-Life Alyx, Boneworks, and Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners are the first time I think VR really went from tech demo to full-blown games. Well, I've only out of those games that you mentioned, I've only played Half-Life Alyx. And Half-Life Alyx was probably the most mind-blown I've been from a gaming experience in a long time. Like, legitimately, I put that game down after finishing it and thought, oh my god, this is absolutely the future of gaming in some capacity. It's not going to be what every game does, but I think it is, yeah, it's just incredible what I experienced with that. The Last of Us multiplayer. Now, they have been working on that for some time, so we may be seeing some sort of Last of Us multiplayer, right? I mean, I know there's definitely rumblings around that, so I want to see if we're going to be seeing anything of that. Everyone loves Last of Us. It's not divisive. What are you talking about? Everyone loves Last of Us. And if you don't like Last of Us, you're not a true gamer, dude. You're not a true gamer. Especially Last of Us Part 2, right? That was our favorite. Speaking of that, does anyone know if we're going to be seeing... pardon me. Are we going to be seeing the Last of Us HBO TV show next year or the following year? I don't think it's this year. I know that there may be... I think that they're either finishing the script or they're actually they're shooting it, but I don't think that we are going to be seeing the Last of Us HBO this year. I think that's going to be next year. Comment section, let me know. Jamie, pull that up. I'm not sure. Tom says that's like me and FF8. To be honest, 8 always been my favorite Final Fantasy, and I've bought it and completed it on pretty much every platform. I loved Final Fantasy, and as I said before, Final Fantasy VIII was the one that kind of like got people in because it was a little bit more of a westernized JRPG. If you know what I mean by that, like the way that it presented aesthetically, just the offering itself felt a bit more easier for Western markets to enjoy. And it was only then that people went back after understanding the formula of Final Fantasy and played Final Fantasy VII. They were like, holy shit, this thing's a fucking masterpiece. You know? And it actually is. Final Fantasy VII is definitely one of the greatest games that we've ever seen on gaming. Hands down. Don't want to hear it. If you don't agree, get out of my chat. It's just one of those games that, like, whoa, it just put itself on the map. I mean, Final Fantasy VI also was a masterpiece from a lot of people. I haven't actually finished it, right? But for Final Fantasy VII, it put itself on the map for a lot of gamers that wouldn't have originally even considered playing Final Fantasies or thinking it was like great in the Western market, you know? I love being a gamer. Good name. I like that name. Part 2 was shit. Lol. It wasn't shit. Okay. In our review that we did many years ago, it had good bones. It was fine, but it just like narratively, it didn't execute what we would have liked. And I think that overall, it wasn't something that I don't believe it'll stand the test of time of being one of the greatest games of the previous generation. I look at like something like Death Stranding. And I think Death Stranding is one of those greater games of the last generation. Very divisive. I know not everyone loves it, right? But as I've said before, not to go too much into it, but naturally it was a AAA title that broke the cookie cutter mold. It wasn't concerned with keeping up with trends or chasing anything. It was like, we're going to do our own thing and we're going to take huge risks here and we're going to hope it pays off. And I think Kojima's game did pay off. Absolutely. Which brings me to my next game, Death Stranding 2. Will we see anything on Death Stranding 2? Now, we know that's like the working title. We don't know what that title is going to be. Having said that, it could very well be just Death Stranding 2. Who knows? But Kojima has shown a few photographic-looking, realistic photographic, images from the game. Just saying Death Stranding 2 and stuff like that. So it's in development. It's happening. It's just a question of, are we going to see anything for this one? I would love to see something here, but I don't know if we will. But that's probably one of the games that I would be most excited for in the next 3 years. Legitimately, it's one of my most favorite. It's one of my most excited. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm mostly excited for that game. You know what I mean, okay? You know what I'm trying to say. So who knows if we'll see anything on that. Silent Hill 2 Remake. Will we see some Silent Hill 2 Remake? That's been definitely something that's been worked on for some time now, so it would be very good. It would be very good to see something on that. It's definitely going to be quite a hefty showcase, but I think that's going to be the major titles here. I think we're going to be seeing some Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake, Spider-Man, Wolverine, some PSVR titles, some Final Fantasy 16 gameplay footage in some aspect, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Last of Us multiplayer. Very excited for that. I know everyone is. Last of Us, and Silent Hill 2 Remake and Death Stranding 2. What I also want to talk about is PlayStation's going strength to strength, and their showcase is on the 24th next Wednesday. And it's kind of kicking off the Summer Games Fest or the E3 time that we knew. And Xbox has been through the ringer. Now they're offering their show 6th of June. It's going to be a good week and a half that PlayStation can just kind of enjoy the sunlight, the spotlight. And I just wonder what Xbox is going to bring to the table. I have no doubt that whatever we see from this PlayStation showcase, it's going to be very good. And it's going to be getting a lot of gamers very excited about the future of whatever PlayStation's bringing. Can we be excited for Xbox? That's the question, right? Well, we can maybe... maybe we'll see a Redfall 2. I mean, that's what we firstly want to see. We want to see Redfall 2. Definitely want to see that. We want to see Halo Infinite 2, right? Because everyone loved that. We just want to see all those very strong first-party titles that Xbox is bringing to the table at the moment. Now, I know I sound like okay, I'm giving Xbox a hard time. But the point I'm trying to make is PlayStation's going strength to strength. This is going to be obviously a very decent showing. We don't know that, but we kind of do, right? We expect some decent titles. There's a suite of first-party AAA experiences from PlayStation that have continuously gone strength to strength. And that, at the moment, all those types of IPs in PlayStation, whatever they show here, it's going to get people hyped. Xbox has more of a problem where whatever they show, if it is the multiple different studios working on new IP and trying to deliver something of quality from these new IPs, as well as old IPs that we kind of know and love, Xbox has a harder job here, right? They have a harder job to deliver a meaningful, entertaining, and hype, a very hype-filled experience for the Xbox showcase. They really do. PlayStation just has an easier time with these showcases based on their previous performance. You know what I'm saying? Where Xbox doesn't have that right now. So I wonder if we are going to see some interesting things from PlayStation. You know what I forgot to say at the very beginning? I'm wearing my PlayStation hoodie today. All right, I'm wearing my PlayStation hoodie. Now, it looks like I'm wearing like a robe. I'm actually just wearing my PlayStation hoodie. Thought I'd wear that today in solidarity, in support of PlayStation. Absolutely. Redfall Battle Royale, we could see that. Redfall PvP mode. Maybe we see, a Redfall Battle Royale, a Redfall MOBA. I think Redfall is just so robust and there's so many people that want to play Redfall that it's definitely something that people are very keen for. Speaking of Redfall, okay, what else is happening in the world of gaming? Redfall player data shows shockingly low numbers 2 weeks since release. Now, before I show you that figure, I would love to, in the chat, okay, what do you think that figure is? What do you think that figure is of the latest 24 hours and the latest kind of concurrent players. Roughly, what do you think it is? As you guys know, Redfall has been a complete meme, and it has fueled the fire. It has given fuel to the flame, there we go, to the idea that Phil Spencer very well may be the wrong man for the job in the future. He did give, of course, a very open and heartfelt interview recently. But the byproduct of that somewhat defeatist attitude that we did experience from that and some people may have taken that interview in different ways, but I definitely felt like he felt defeated. He definitely made it clear that the console war wasn't something that Xbox really wanted to participate in, but they were going to do their own thing. They were going to be offering their own thing and whatever. But Redfall definitely brought to the surface that conversation again about Phil Spencer. Is he the right man for the job? And what's the future of Xbox? And it even got people talking about, hey, are we going to see a future where Xbox is just like sold off? Like they kind of just yeet themselves out of the market. They just don't even try and compete in the console space, and they just exclusively become a third-party developer. That's something I heard too, and that's, you know what, that's not out of the realm of possibility, man. We continuously see Xbox trail behind PlayStation and Switch in such a significant way that they don't really feel like they can fully compete. We may see that they just want to be a third-party studio. All right, Roshi says, I'll go with 2,000. Lucidia says 200 more or less. Tom says, isn't it like 200? I love being a game, says 250. Chris says 600. The results are in, folks. 261 players right now. The 24-hour peak was 376. Huge numbers, especially for a co-op game. You know, it's gonna be hard to find a group. You got to like call your mate and say, please play Redfall with me. I beg ya. Not looking good for Redfall. You know, it's always good 2 weeks in when a game that is very heavily on co-op and kind of a multiplayer experience, enjoying it with friends, enjoying it with anybody, is so down. So if that is going to be if you are making a team of 4, quick maths, what's that, like 100 groups? And not even, it's like 50 groups or something. 60 groups of people can play together, and that's it on Steam. That is the only amount of people that can play on Steam together. So that's not looking good, folks. And I suspect that so another thing is that they did say in this, Phil Spencer did say that they're going to be working on Redfall, trying to bring it up to 60 FPS, trying to bring it up to a quality that, you know, the consumer deserves. And that's a worthy pursuit. But I would definitely say that based on the little hype that this game will continue to have going forward, it's better off just to just kill it before it lays eggs. Just let it go. Just let it die. You know, it's kind of, I think it's best to let it go. Not put manpower into something that people aren't probably ever going to come back for. And the very small amount of people that are playing it, I don't think that warrants a huge amount of manpower trying to bring this up to a level when that manpower can be put on other games, other more exciting IP that people are more anticipating, like Starfield or Elder Scrolls 6 or whatever Arcane Studios is working on, you know? So... Udina says, lol, has Ralph asked you to play Redfall with him? No. But that would be, you know, see what they're doing in Australia now. This is true because it's on the internet. If you commit a crime, you just have to play many hours of Redfall now. That's the kind of torture they're doing. The CIA has also done the same thing. And if you don't want to tell them where the bomb is, they'll just say, okay, make him play Redfall for 5 hours. Like, okay, I'll tell you where the bomb is. I'm sorry. All right. Anything but Redfall. I don't want to see the bugs. We'll make you play at 30 FPS if you don't tell us. All right, we'll tell you. Johnny says, I really want a Rise of Ronin footage. Please, Sony. Who knows what... I mean, look, other things too that naturally people want to see, but I think those are the things... the things I mentioned are probably the highest possibility of something apart from Death Stranding. Probably the highest possibility that we're going to start seeing those types of things. Guybrush says, I want Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts too. No, we don't. Okay? No, we want to see Banjo-Kazooie remake. That's what we want. Or just like a Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, and then Banjo-3E. We want that same thing, right? We just want to like continue that iteration to the third. That's what we want. Hey man, if you want, Guy, if you want Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts, man, more power to you. I'm only joking with you. I'm only joshing with you. Tom says, as an Australian, can confirm, we play bad video games as punishment for crimes. There we go. See, there we go. We got another person that's lying with me. It's true. Udina says, oh god, that sounds horrible, and they make you have to play it with controller. Yes. They used to use Fallout 76, but now they see that there's a new and improved tactic. So that's the new game that the CIA try and make people play through punishment. Speaking of punishment, this is what happens when you, as a developer, that you let people do widescreen. You get to see how the game is made. So for anyone that played Resident Evil 4 Remake, there's a lot of these times where you would, Resident Evil 4, sorry. When you're doing this kind of like, what's this word called? You know, when you're doing the codec. There we go. When you're doing the codec. This is what you would usually see. And then, of course, in Resident Evil 4, if you have an ultra wide, you can actually see that they've just slapped the whole body behind the codec. This brings me to something else that I saw many months ago, but I thought was really interesting. Zelda Ocarina of Time, right? When this was actually released, this is how they made the skyboxes.
In The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, we were given a day and night cycle never before seen in the likes of video games. However, this sky in Ocarina of Time really is just an illusion. With the N64 graphical limitations, the developers had to use tricks in order to get things to work. In this case, they used a cube, or rather a skybox that rotates surrounding the camera, and drawing in the rest. The optical illusion works really well, creating a sense of an actual sky. You can see it here from Twitter user Daniel Bamonde. Apologies if I pronounced it wrong. Using the free camera mode hack in the PC port.
Isn't that cool?
Which has many other great features like 250 FPS, higher resolutions, quality of life enhancements, the list goes on and on. It actually might be the definitive version of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
So there's just like a cube thing that just follows you around when you're playing Legend of Zelda, giving you that skybox, and then the actual surrounding mountains and stuff are cut in. So it makes it look like the sky is very far away, but it's actually not. It's actually quite close. It's a continuous cube that just follows you around the entire time. That was the way that they got around those kind of, you know, inabilities to get more power out of the N64. I thought that was kind of cool. EU official, CMA overstated Microsoft's share in cloud gaming market. Now, I think we've touched on this before, but this was interesting, right? So the EU official has said that the CMA has overstated Microsoft's share in the cloud gaming market. So what it says here is an official from the European Union in a report from the Financial Times says the CMA had overstated Microsoft's market share into cloud gaming market as it included Xbox Game Pass subscribers who don't use cloud gaming. They said that 60 to 70% of the market share in cloud gaming is owned by Xbox, which isn't correct then. If these figures are correct, of course, 60 to 70% of the people that are on Game Pass don't necessarily use cloud gaming. I, for one, I have I can use kind of cloud gaming in Australia, even though it's kind of terrible. I never use it. I had Game Pass for like 18 months before I turned it off. But a lot of people are going to be in the same boat as me. We don't really use cloud gaming, but we like to use the Game Pass, right? So if this is correct and they had to change their numbers, the CMA, that would legitimately then change the playing field in terms of if their decision was going to hold true. Because at the moment they've said, we're sticking to our guns. We've looked at the data and our data's correct. But if this is the underpin of everything that they've kind of come to their conclusion with, then maybe their decision needs to change, you know, because there are a lot of people out there that aren't going to be playing any cloud gaming, but they naturally just want to be using the Xbox Game Pass. So I think that's interesting. And I think that's enough to maybe reignite the idea, if that is very much part of their decision making, that data and those figures. You know, if this does go to court and all this kind of stuff, and the data is revealed to be incorrect that the CMA has used, maybe they'll join the ranks of the another 10 out of 12, or 11 out of 12 regulatory areas that would approve this, and would only then be waiting for the US. Again, this is going to be going on for a long time. I'm not expecting this to be done anytime soon, but we can expect this is going to be interesting for news. Oh yeah. This is going to be one of the cycle things, you know, like, oh, what's happening in the news today? Not much. Oh, there's some CMA shit. Throw that in. All right. Yeah, cool. Phil Spencer had something to say about it. All right, throw it in. Bobby Kotick had something to say about it. All right, throw it in. Anything to reach the hour. That's what it's all about. Watch time on YouTube, folks. Keep it a $1.50. That's your name. Cloud gaming is the future. Cloud gaming is definitely going to be part of the future. Some people don't like that idea, but as I said before, it absolutely is Cloud gaming isn't going to be on your phone so much. It's going to be on a 60-inch television, all that kind of stuff. Oh, first live sneeze. There we go. Got it on camera. Wilson says console gaming is close to be dead because exclusive game storylines are almost over. I think console games, a console exclusive, have a long way to go. I don't know if we'll have multiple console generations. I think we'll get to a point where the console idea doesn't make sense anymore. What they'll do is they'll just gate off certain IP onto a subscription service that you can play on cloud, or you can play on your PC, or other third-party manufacturers will just release a very powerful console, and you can play PlayStation games and Xbox games and Switch games on that. I see that happening in the next 15 years. Absolutely. The console idea is there's a hell of a lot of money that these companies have to put in, and they have to try and make money out of it, and they sell it at a loss, and then it's only when they sell their first-party games and third-party games on their marketplace is when they're making money. So I do see that to be something in the future, I think. Cooper says, Sam, it's Coop. What's up, Beardsley? Can we talk about Tears of the Kingdom? We've already talked about Tears of the Kingdom a hell of a lot. Got some stuff to show you later on, actually, about Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom, 10 out of 10, and it's not just me that's saying it. Other publishers are saying it too. Tom says, consoles will also always have a market due to convenience. I agree that the console idea will be there, but I wonder if certain companies like Xbox may be the first one that just says, you know what, it's not really worth us making consoles. We just want to focus on our games, our first-party games, and they create marketplaces that people can play it on multiple platforms. That's what I see in the future. Speaking of Tears of the Kingdom, that was a good little segue, Cooper. This little thing just to show you the ridiculous shit you can make in this game. Alright, that might get demonetized. But loving this thing. I don't know how he got on the top of this, though. This is the thing. If you guys have played Tears of the Kingdom... Oh, wait. Okay. Bail! I don't know how he actually got on the top of that. That thing would have toppled over if you don't turn it on. He must have lent it against something. Or something like that. Now, speaking of Tears of the Kingdom, I wanted to go back 10 years or something to a very good commercial that was done by Robin Williams. I don't know if you guys ever seen this, but he actually named his daughter Zelda, right? Because he loved Zelda Ocarina of Time, or he just loved Zelda, the franchise. So the risk of this getting demonetized, let's watch this together.
The first time I saw you, I knew we'd be linked forever. For you, I traveled to the four corners of the world. I faced adversity. I became a hero.
Dad.
I saved your kingdom.
Dad.
Yes, Zelda?
Are you mixing me up with the princess again?
Hard to say. You're both pretty magical.
That's so nice to see. It really is, What an absolute talent. Absolute talent. True talent, man. Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to show you that. I want to show you that because it is good, and it is good to remember previous Zelda ads. It is good to remember Robin Williams, one of the greatest creative geniuses that we've ever seen. Ever. I mean, if you see him do stand-up, for instance, like he's so quick. He's done Whose Line Is It Anyway? Sometimes he's just on a talk show, and he'll just rattle off jokes that he obviously just thought on the spot, He's a true genius. He's a true genius, and he will be missed. He will be missed. Speaking of other news, pulling out of the UK would significantly harm Activision. Okay, so this has now become more of a topic where people are expecting that maybe Activision and Xbox ultimately just bow out of the UK market, because if they get 11 out of the 12 regulatory areas, including the US, then maybe it makes sense for them just to not even play ball in the UK, right? Maybe they're just like, fuck it, we're out. Okay, if you don't want to play ball with us, fine. And there's some very rough figures here in terms of how much they do generate annually. Now, it does seem that Activision also confirms that it made 11% of its 2022 revenue from the United Kingdom. So it would be losing 10% of its revenue. Okay? 828 million freedom dollars, US dollars. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to be losing. Absolutely. But would it justify it if Xbox was able to bring Activision into the umbrella of Xbox, and then over the next 10-year period, when they started to not necessarily need to allow third-party stream cloud and console manufacturers to allow them to play the games? that would be a question, right? They have to do the numbers and figure out, hey, is it really worth us losing 10% over the next 10 years in the United Kingdom? 11% ends up being 110% of their revenue lost in the next 10 years. That's a significant number. That is a significant number, right? That's quick maths. I'm not sure if that's going to stand up. But you know what I'm trying to say, right? There's definitely a lot of questions there in terms of what they're going to be doing there. But I do suspect that if US comes on board and 11 out of the 12 precincts come on board and say, yep, we're happy with this, you can move forward, that is a legitimate question that we will maybe start seeing. And I wonder if that will be a reality. That will be a huge story. That will be thumbnail story if that actually happened. But first, the US first has to bring this on board and say, yes, they're also fine with it. And as I said last time, the CMA wins 67% of the cases every time. So they do win most of their cases when some people aren't happy with the CMA's decision and they choose to contest it. The CMA does win 67% of the time. So if they do win that, if the CMA does win, then ultimately Activision and Xbox will have to make a decision. They'll have to make a big old decision. Omar says he was so great as Genie. He was so great in so many things. Good Will Hunting. He did. What was the movie with Robert De Niro where Robert De Niro, Awakenings? That was one of the. I love that movie, and it really shows his more honest and real side, not the comedic side. But Good Will Hunting was similar in that. Like, he had so much range. You know, he could do so many things. At the drop of a hat, he could be the funniest person in the room. But then Good Will Hunting, he could drop, you know, a 2-minute monologue that is so, like, just incredible. And just completely separate from any comedy, you know. Jim Carrey, I think, with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, also did something similar there. You can definitely see his more raw, honest, non-comedic side. I think Jim Carrey is definitely also a genius, you know. But I don't know if Robin Williams and him, they're kind of their own geniuses in their own way, you know. One Dashing Hot Dog says 6% of the time it works. Every time. I used that joke yesterday also. But fuck it. Whatever. I recycle jokes here, folks. Okay, I'm no Robin Williams. I'm no genius. I have to use the same jokes. You know what? We get there because if we get to the 55-minute mark, that's all that matters. When I first started the show, it was like 30 minutes. And I'm like, you know what? That's not long enough. Heard that before. And I thought 55 minutes was going to be better. So that's why you guys get me for 55 minutes a day, usually, unless it's not enough news. Tom says, oh, speaking of which, thoughts on Blizzard canning PvE campaign for Overwatch 2, like the whole reason the 2 existed in the first place. I made a dedicated video on that yesterday. Where were you, Tom? I thought you were a hardcore fan of GAMON, bro. Nah, man, you've changed. No, so, yeah, I did a whole video on that yesterday, and I will actually cover that a little bit as the news goes on, because there's some announcements in terms of Blizzard announcements. Tears of the Kingdom is only the sixth game in is only the sixth game in 30 years to be awarded both by Famitsu 40 and Edge 10. Right? So Edge doesn't give a lot of 10 out of 10s. Sorry, still sick. Edge doesn't give a lot of 10 out of 10s, but they give Tears of the Kingdom 10 out of 10. It is a 10 out of 10 in a lot of ways. All right? Performance-wise, it does kind of suck. Right, especially as you get to the Fire Temple, and there's all sorts of times that you're going to be experiencing the game and you're going to be running at 15 FPS. 9 times out of 10, though, it doesn't really matter. The sheer genius of this game, the creative vision of it, what they're doing here, how they 10x this from Breath of the Wild, it's just so much of an offering that I think any performance issues folds into the conversation, but it's not the major conversation. Now, I know I also made a video on that too. John, the Truman Show is still good. Truman Show is another perfect example where he was a little bit funny at times, but not really. It was really a serious piece, you know. And I think he did a fantastic job of that. Absolutely. You know. Steve-O, perfecting the art of the joke. That's right. So on this show, what I'm really trying to do is just perfect the art of the joke like Robin Williams did. Because he did. He perfected the art of the joke. I only perfect the art of the joke. I got nothing. See, I got nothing. All right? It's like when I go on a date. They're like, oh, are you funny? I'm like, yeah. And they go blank the whole time. And they're like, oh, cool. I'll just have one drink. Thanks. See you later. Good to meet you. Sad but true. Sad but true. You know what else is sad but true? We don't know what's happening with goddamn Mortal Kombat. All right? Everyone wants to know what the hell is happening with Mortal Kombat. Now, Ed Boon has said this week should be fun with like a little dragon emoji. Now, as we saw previously, of course, now this is another thing that he's brought out today. Yeah, this is today. This is another thing he's brought out. Showing something about Mortal Kombat. Now he's breaking it. It stopped at the 1. It is time. Fatality. No one knows what's going to happen. Now, a lot of people are expecting this to maybe be a remake of Mortal Kombat 1, or maybe we're just going to be seeing a new, fresh start for Mortal Kombat. It is, what, Mortal Kombat 11, it's going to go to 12, 13, 14, 24. Sometimes it's nice to do what they did. Xbox did it with Xbox One, and it worked for them. Xbox One sold tremendously. That's what they need to do. Instead of doing Xbox 360 to 720, they did the Xbox 360 to Xbox One. Bad move. All right, Ed Boon, take note. Not a good idea. Don't go to the 1. Doesn't work. Xbox can attest to that. Big time. Kaisertope says, would it be as popular and revered if it wasn't exactly the same game, but it didn't have the Zelda or Nintendo label on it? I don't think it would get the same press and the same hype, but I think if people played it and they had never played, if Zelda was a new game and they played this for the first time, I think people would walk away and still say this is somewhat of a masterpiece. If not, this is still a masterpiece. I think what they've done with Zelda is definitely worthy of a lot of eyeballs, you know. So I still think that even if it didn't have the Zelda brand, it would still be very, very popular. Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks 2, please. I remember playing Shaolin Monks, the first one or whatever. I remember, was it just Shaolin Monks? It's just called Shaolin Monks, right? Yeah. I remember playing that and I thought it was kind of cool. Yeah, I like that they did different types of things with Mortal Kombat. But Mortal Kombat 3 is the best one. Simple as that. I don't care what anyone says. Mortal Kombat 3 was incredible. Okay. What else is happening in the world gaming? Okay. Blizzard is confident. Blizzard's always confident. They're confident that they can deliver PvE with Overwatch 2. They're confident that Diablo Immortal is going to be great. They're confident that Diablo 3 is going to release with no Error 37. And it didn't, right? Wrong. Diablo had quite the rocky road when it first came out on Diablo 3 in terms of the Error 37 messages. There was all sorts of problems when it came out. Now, I still think that Diablo 3 was a good game. I finished it multiple times, played it with multiple heroes, probably put 100 hours, if not more, into that game. So I enjoyed it, right? Definitely had a big issue when it first came out in terms of just the servers getting hit. Blizzard and the Diablo 4 team are very confident, though, that this is going to be just fine. Who knows? They did say every one of these betas has been transformational in terms of our understanding of our own technical capacity and what we need to do to make that a smoother launch experience in general. So it has been great. I put it to you, young sir, that when you bring out a server slam on the same weekend that Zelda Tears of the Kingdom comes out, not a lot of people are going to be playing Diablo. Yes, there's going to be some people, but most people that really love Zelda, love games, and play a plethora of different types of games. Thought I'd throw that in today, a bit of plethora for you. You know, they're not going to be playing Diablo over that weekend. So the server slam doesn't feel like it would have got the data it could have fully got compared to if it just moved it over to this weekend, the coming weekend where there's not any major game coming out. That makes sense to me, you know. But what do I know? I'm just a hardcore casual gamer. You know what I'm saying? Josh Shu says, never pre-order. I pre-ordered. Shame on me. Fool me once. Fool me twice. You know what I mean. Bush. I pre-ordered because I wanted to play the beta early so I could do a review of it on the channel with you guys. So that's why I did that. Tom says, next week, Blizzard removes PvE campaign from Diablo 4. It's now just a MOBA. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe they're just going to be like in 6 months. Look, we couldn't deliver the gore and we couldn't put Diablo as the end boss. We just couldn't do it, okay? Or Lilith. Couldn't do it. We tried. We really couldn't do it. We wanted to originally deliver the isometric view, but we just couldn't deliver the quality that we thought we could with Diablo. So now it's just a stick standing still. Enjoy. Thanks for the $70. Who knows? Josh Sue says, pre-ordered 6 times, regretted it every single time. Well, it depends, right? Like, I think Zelda was a pretty... I didn't pre-order Zelda. I was originally going to buy a physical copy, but I couldn't be bothered to leave the house because I'm a gamer, and I just bought it digitally. But I will say that Diablo's beta, open beta, gave a lot of confidence to people that this was going to be a good game. All right, so whatever this is going to be, from what we've seen from the beta, we can expect something relatively good, right? That's what I'm at least expecting. In other news, same news, Diablo has just released its official game launch trailer. Let's do it. Demonetized with the music. Great. Awesome.
Your lives
Wait till the world is mine.
depend on what you do.
Sounds very Kratos.
So for these ocean eyes,
Choose wisely.
you should see me in the crowd. I'm gonna run this nothing town. Watch me make 'em bow. One by one, one by one. Count my cards, watch them fall. Blood on a marble wall. I like the way they all scream. Crown. I'm gonna run this nothing town. Watch me make 'em bow. One by one, one by. You should sing it from the crowd.
Shit,
Your
sorry.
silence is my favorite sound.
All right.
Watch me make 'em bow. One by
Not really a Diablo song, though. Oh, yeah.
You should see me in the crowd.
I feel like that wasn't very a Diablo song, though. That's the problem. It should have been like Doom or something, you know?
The age of man.
You know, that kind of thing. Oh, that's Lord of the Rings.
It's the time.
All right, what else? BlizzCon confirmed for November 3rd and 4th. Who's excited for BlizzCon? Yeah! PvE! Yeah! It's going to be so good, guys. I can tell you now. It's going to be a huge showing. Right, we're going to see PvE mission stories. We're going to see so much of Overwatch 2. All the promises are going to be delivered. Okay, so everyone's excited for that. BlizzCon confirmed for November 3rd to 4th. I'll be covering that, of course. Very excited to see what they do there. There's going to be quite a few questions about what they're going to be showing for Overwatch 2. That's the question. Look, BlizzCon needs to show some significant stuff. Now, they've already, of course, got Diablo 4 coming out, so there's not going to be any Diablo 4 unless they're going to have a segment dedicated to upcoming roadmaps of whatever Diablo 4 is going to be offering. I actually can expect that. We're going to be seeing, of course, some Overwatch stuff. We're going to be seeing something in regards to World of Warcraft. Who knows? We might see something about Warcraft 4 or something. Like, who knows, right? Like other stuff that they need to show. But the overall offering at the moment from Blizzard is relatively thin, I would say. You know? Some Diablo Immortal stuff. We'll definitely see that. But definitely excited to see what they show, right? Because I'm a big fan of Blizzard. I love Overwatch. I honestly love Overwatch. I love Diablo. I loved World of Warcraft. I played the hell out of that thing, right? But I don't know what they're going to be showing here. Very interesting to see, but we are only we're only speculating, and I'm speculating there's going to be a lot of promises, and those promises are not going to be fulfilled. We have no data to suggest that, right? What do you mean? Blizzard always, you know, delivers on their promises. Congratulations, Nintendo. Jeff Keighley. Tears of the Kingdom sold 10 million copies in just 3 days. That is massive. Breath of the Wild sold 30, I believe, from the data I have seen, 30 million copies over its entire existence over the last 6 years or so. To sell 10 million copies in 3 days, I suspect that this, of course, will have a runoff. Like, it won't sell 10 million in the next 3 days. But it could very well surpass what Breath of the Wild did It got reviewed very well. Some people weren't happy with it, but most people were. And all the journal reviews, that's what I'm trying to say, they gave it a lot of 10s, right? Apart from that, Gfinity, they gave it 60 out of 100, lol. This is going to probably surpass what Breath of the Wild sold. And this, if anything, very well may give the developers of Zelda the confidence to continue with this similar sandbox idea, right? I liked what they did with the sandbox. And for them to move away from this and do something different in the future, surely they're able to do that. But with this success, with this continuous success now, with building upon the sandbox idea in Zelda, I wonder if they will. I don't know if we'll see an OG original idea like we used to see with Zelda. Don't think so. Don't think so, folks. And you know what else is very interesting? All about family, folks. Okay, Fast and Furious 10. And let me just say, okay, I'm not a fucking fan of this movie, okay? I've watched like Fast and Furious 1, Tokyo Drift or something. Mate, I am not a fan of Fast and Furious movies, okay? I'm not a big fan of the movie, of the whole family thing or whatever. I guess I'm just not a big fan of just like so much action that there's like, it's just mind-numbing action, right? I need more because I'm sophisticated, okay? Yeah, but there's something about the Fast and Furious movies that just for me doesn't really do it for me, right? And it seems like the tomato meter from the critical reviews 56 is not doing it for them either. And the worst part of this news is they're looking to do a trilogy of the 10. They're looking to do 3 movies out of this Fast 10 thing. So the pain doesn't stop. And did I also mention that the CIA, not only do they make you play Redfall, but they make you watch all the Fast and Furiouses in succession. They just make you watch them all. Ask the CIA. That's what they said. That's another torture technique. That's what they do. And it works, apparently. It works, apparently. GameSpot gave it a 4 out of 10. Jesus Christ, not good. Avlata says, but they go to space. Well, if they go to space, then I need to watch it, right? I mean, Elon Musk also go to space. I don't watch him. Actually, I do have him on Twitter. I do watch a lot of it. I do look at a lot of his tweets. I do. Tom says, I think Anuma confirmed going forward he's going to focus on expanding the refining the open world design of the new Zelda. So there we go. I think we can expect some sort of formula that doubles down on the strengths of what we have seen and the successes that Zelda has had. And to finish off, because this video has probably already been demonetized, fuck it. This is apparently the greatest shot in television history. The timing of this person delivering his speech and then what happens next, it's good.
It was Obert's assistant lying on its side behind me now were hydrogen and oxygen. If you release those two gases into a confined space with a hole at the other end of it and mix them as you do so, and then set light to them, you get that.
Oh, look at that timing. Look at that frickin' timing. Man, that's good.
The moon or Moscow.
Or Moscow.
The planets or Peking.
The planets or Peking. I thought that was great. I want to show that today because you know what? It's not all about gaming. It's about learning. Okay, you learned something today. Not only did you learn about reviews, news and discussions. We watched the trailer together. We watched about the predictions of PlayStation Showcase. All about learning here, and I appreciate your time, guys. Thank you so much for being here as always. I'll be here probably tomorrow if there's more news. Now, I probably will do some sort of video tomorrow if there is a Mortal Kombat release. I want to talk about that. We can watch the trailer together, all that kind of stuff, as well as other news that pops up. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate you guys being here every day. You guys are really great. Have a wonderful afternoon, evening, wherever you are. See you guys next time.